AFME-TV, San Diego.
(1984), an incredible year, some depressing lows and some fantastic highs. One of the highest for San Diego happened this way. Take a look.
Here's the pitch to Kevin. Fly ball left field. Got some distance. Matthews back. Can't get it. Three-run homer. Pitch on the way to Garvey. Hit high to right center field. Way back. Going. Gone. The Padres win it.
And they are still applauding. There are lots of people to thank for that particular thrill. One of them is our very special guest this morning. Ladies and gentlemen, Joan Kroc.
Good morning. Jerry, how are you? Happy holidays.
You look Christmassy.
Thank you.
Huh?
Thank you.
Been a couple of years since you sat in that chair. You've been on this program.
I have, and I'm so excited after seeing Garvey do that. Do you think he'll do that again?
Do you get excited is it like an actor who makes a movie and every time he sees it, it's
the goosebumps still come up.
Well, it happened in our audience, and I know it happens every time we see it at home as well.
It was a great season.
84 season was unbelievable. I'll tell you one of my favorite parts.
What?
The third game of the playoffs, the lady who threw out the first ball. I was in the stands, and were you blown away in the audience as I was by what you did? We got a picture of that, I think. Joan Kroc came
good.
out. And was the uniform specially made? Was it a last-second idea?
It was taken in a little bit, I'm happy to say.
Was it regular player uniform?
It was a regular player uniform. They decked me out with everything except the you-know-what, you know.
I know, you didn't
and
those.
it was a beautiful thrill for me.
How involved are you in the day-to-day operations of that baseball
Well,
team?
not in the day-to-day. You know, Ballard is my son-in-law, and Ray appointed him as president 2.5 years ago. Ballard makes the decisions, and when things get a little hairy, he says, Mom, how far do we go? And it's amazing because we agree so well on strategy and philosophy that I'm involved, but I don't have to be because Ballard is a true exponent of my beliefs.
At one point, Ray was involved to the point where he was almost too involved. He became so emotional.
Ray was such a fan that it got in his way of judgment. This could happen to me too, by the way. I hope it doesn't.
You're fighting it?
Well, yeah, I am. It's hard because we wanted Sutcliffe, you know, how much we wanted him. But there's something obscene about a fine young athlete being placed on an auction block. I had a lot of trouble with that, and so did Ballard. And we offered him what we thought was fair, more than fair, because we wanted him. And we're very naive in thinking that everyone wants to be in San Diego. I think they should be, you know. But it wasn't enough for him, and I can understand why he went with the Cubs. He really owed them something, you see. And he felt that way. But his agent, that's where I have the problem. His agent didn't feel that way, you see.
There are those who say, though, Joan, that you are in that business. You're in that ball game. The ball game is bidding for players. I don't know if George Steinbrenner started it, but it's there.
Well,
and it's
I don't know
part of the
who
game.
started it, but I can tell you what, we are not going to be a part of it. And I think that Peter Ubroth is going to change some of that, because I don't think he likes it either.
We're losing Ed Whitson, apparently, today.
We lost him.
It's gone. Right?
And we offered him a fair price, you see. So if people don't, you know, if they don't love what they're doing more than making money, this goes back to Ray's philosophy, if you love what you're doing and do it well, you're going to make money. It's going to engulf you. But this is obscene, you know, the kinds of...
Hard for people, the guy who goes to work, who's getting ready for work right now and going to have to drive in this rain on the freeway.
You bet. And I want the fans to be able to come and see the Padres and not have to pay $25 to watch a game.
That's what's happening.
And that's
ticket
what will
prices are gonna
happen.
have to escalate, huh?
Yeah, well, I still don't think that'll happen. I think we're in a bad spot right now, but I think that our new commissioner is going to really put the clip on this.
You heard any talk about league expansion at this point?
No, I haven't, but Ballard would be a good one to ask that. But I can tell you that, that we're not going to get involved in the auction block.
Is there a dollar limit? Is that what happens when Jack and Ballard are negotiating with a player and they get to a certain point? Are you involved at that point?
Well, I'll tell you what's obscene about it. Dallas Green said, and he represents a big corporation, the Chicago Tribune. He said, I'm going to outbid anyone that wants Sutcliffe. I'm not going to get in that because I could have outbid the Chicago Tribune. We're both, you know, pretty well able to bid. But I'm not going to play that game. We offered him what we thought was fair and just, and he made the decision.
Draw the distinction for us, if you will, between, the assumption is that when you talk about the Padres, you're talking about McDonald's, and you know, that the money is all in one big pool, and if you don't have enough for the Padres, you take some from the McDonald's bank account. I mean, that's the public assumption.
I know, but that's not correct. McDonald's is a public corporation, but they have their own management. Padres is a private-owned corporation and has its own management, and I'm kind of floating between the middle here, and if the Padres needed money, we ran out, obviously I'd have to sell some McDonald's stock. So there is an interchange there that one can't deny.
But it's not a bottomless well where you can just
Well, I
keep
don't think there's
replenishing
such a
one for the
thing
other.
as a bottomless well. I mean, I think your conscience is not a bottomless well, you know?
You're talking about the feeling that there is too much of a demand and there's
Yeah.
got to be a cutoff point.
There has to be. It's a business.
There are
you know.
those who say it's too late for that.
Last year, no, it's not too late. It's never too late for anything. Last year was the first year that we made any money at all. And you know,
First profitable year for the
first
Padres?
profitable since Ray bought the team in '74. And look what we had to do it. And then, you know what we did? We gave all of those wonderful people that work for us bonuses at Ballard's suggestion, and I'm glad we could do that because without them, not the players, they get it anyway, you know, for winning, but all the little stenos and the PR people and the secretaries. And so I think we probably gave it all away in bonuses, but that's okay.
85 season. There's one area I'll bet you were involved in. There's some new uniforms which are hush-hush and top secret. And I said, can we show them on the show? And they said, oh, not yet. We're going to have a premiere and all. Can you tell us anything about it?
Yeah, they're a little toned down, but they're
Same basic colors?
Same, well, not the orange, not so much orange, but they're striped, you see, and they're jazzy. Now, I bet a lot of people will say, gosh, they won the World Series with their old ones. I probably should have stuck with the old ones.
Tradition, right?
Yeah, your tradition.
But you've got some of the
they're
same
good
theory,
looking,
yeah.
and they're very sophisticated looking. I think Mr. Steinbrenner probably gets sick when he sees them.
We're going to be premiering them, what, in a couple of weeks?
A couple of weeks in a style show.
We're going to talk to the Padres and see if we can
Super.
do a little mini style show.
Oh, that would be
here.
nice. Garvey would be, I'm sure, happy to do that.
Well, we are going to come back, and when we return, we're going to find out more. We've heard about the San Diego Padres an awful lot this year and in these last few minutes. Come back, we'll find out more about this charming lady, Joan Kroc. Don't go away.
It's out of this world. Levitt's lowest prices of the year. You'll find hundreds of outstanding furniture bargains. For example, this country-style family room in rugged pine and matched plaid Herculon is on sale now at Levitt's. You get the sofa, chair, ottoman cocktail table, and 2 end tables, all 5 pieces for only $549. Or purchase the pieces separately. They're all on sale now at Levitt's lowest prices of the year.
This is some people's idea of how to prepare a seafood dinner. Because while most everyone loves seafood, not everyone knows exactly what to do with it. Well, now there's a better way. Introducing Mrs. Paul's Light Seafood Entrees. 7 tempting seafood entrees that are low in calories and microwavable. New Mrs. Paul's Light Seafood Entrees for people who love seafood but don't love to cook it. Mrs. Paul's, it tastes good because it is good.
It's Robinson's after Christmas sale and clearance. You'll save 25% on career sportswear from our $1 million Evan Picone collection. Save 33% on our boiler crepe denim sportswear collection from Gloria Vanderbilt. Save 32% on contemporary designer cotton knit shirts. Our famous American designer dress shirts are just $16.99, and his silk ties are just $9.99. It's all happening now at Robinson's.
If you're shopping for a new car, then come to the low price leader. Hi, I'm Bob Stahl at the Chevy Capital, and that's a fact. Nobody can sell a new Chevrolet for less than Bob Stahl Chevrolet. Like this '85 Cavalier. Buy it for only $6,988, or lease it for only $130 a month. Buy this new '85 Camaro, $8,588, or lease it for only $166 a month. We'll save you money at Bob Stahl Chevrolet.
You're gonna get a good deal.
And a good deal more.
I want to take you and Joan Kroc and, I don't know, 40, 50,000 people
We had
there,
a full house, yeah.
to Ray Kroc's 80th birthday party. That was a magic night for both of you. Now, Ray had a stroke.
He'd had a stroke, yeah, and he was in a wheelchair.
Yeah.
And they got all of his family, friends, and McDonald operators that had known him for 20 years together, and we had 50,000 people.
In case you missed the party, take a look. This is what went on at Jack Murphy Stadium on Ray's 80th
Boys
birthday.
and girls, tonight we celebrate the birthday of a man whose name and company became worldwide household names. Ray A. Kroc, at an age when most men began to look toward retirement, 52 years of age, founded the McDonald's Corporation. Today, that company has more than 7,000 restaurants throughout the United States and the world. Ray Kroc, a lifelong baseball fan, became the owner of the San Diego Padres in January 1974, at a time that this franchise was heading toward Washington, D.C. Please join us in honoring a man who has made so many contributions to the world communities. It is with great personal pleasure that we present to you Mr. Ray Kroc.
Joan, how did you and Ray meet?
Well, Ray and I met at the Criterion Restaurant in St. Paul, Minnesota, and he had come to Minneapolis, St. Paul, to discuss selling a county to the man who was my boss at that time.
He was already in the McDonald's
He was in McDonald's.
business.
He was trying to peddle franchises and getting people excited enough to buy.
So what year are we talking about?
And we're talking about, 28 years ago, so talking about the 50s. And Ray came in, and he had electric blue eyes, and he said to my boss, "Who's that?" And he said, "Well, that's Joni. You've heard me speak of her." And Ray and I met, and he said to himself, he did not say to me, "I'm going to marry her someday."
He decided...
He said yes, and I think he did, because he never gave up, and it took him 12 years, and then we were married.
Now, you were at the restaurant, you were performing.
I was playing the organ. Mm-hmm.
That was your career?
That
You
was
were a
my career. I was
professional
the staff organist at KSTP TV, and then at noon, and then from 7 to 10 played the organ in this restaurant where I met Ray.
Minneapolis, your home?
Yeah, in St. Paul, my home.
Born
So Ray decided that if he could sell this restaurateur a whole county, he sold him Hennepin County for $3,000.
The franchise rights?
Yeah, for the whole county, see. So that was quite a buy.
What would, in dollar terms today, any idea what that's worth?
Well, they don't sell the counties anymore.
can't
You get a
even-
little tiny store, see. It probably costs anywhere from $100,000 to $200,000.
So what that would have cost today?
Astronomical.
millions.
And he really sold, he had to sell a bill of goods because nobody believed that a 15-cent hamburger would stand up in 15 below weather, you see, in Minnesota.
Or that people would ever flock to. Did he have any dreams early on that the empire would end up the way it did?
Never. It just evolved, and he was always ready to take the next step,
What were Ray's last days like? They must have been difficult.
They were probably, he taught us all how to die. And he was braver and stronger than the rest of us.
Was he in a lot of pain?
No, he wasn't in a lot of pain, but he was in emotional pain, so it's the same thing. Pain is pain. But we were in the same kind of emotional pain that he was in, but he was so brave, he never complained. Ray didn't know what pity or self-pity meant.
Such a vigorous man to not be able to do the things that he...
He had great heart for others, and the one thing he couldn't abide in others was feeling sorry for oneself. And that rubbed off on all of us, including our poor Padres who didn't do it for 10 years, you know.
Yeah, well, we've said it over and over, everyone has, if he had been there, and I think that Steve Garvey said it, that he was there.
He was there, you bet. He was our 10th man.
You've had some thoughts, I know you've done a lot of introspective thinking in Ray's last moments and since he's died, about people picking up the pieces after a loss like this. The assumption from the public is, oh, Joan's got all that money, it's easy. You know, she said goodbye, Ray, and went on with her life, but I'm sure it was a lot tougher than that.
It's tough, but what I would say to anyone, whether it's a young woman getting married or a person in middle age that knows someone is ill, be prepared, because it's part of life. Life is a series of reprieves, you know, and finally the day comes and we don't get that reprieve, but be prepared, get involved with something you love to do, and don't stake your whole life on that one person or that one World Series, and because you can't. You'll be devastated if you do.
You have been involved in so many areas, and one of the ones that I was not aware of until I read it in one of the columns a few weeks ago was that you're a film producer, and it happened, you met Jack Lemmon in a restaurant. You hang around restaurants a lot.
Well, well, important things have happened to me, that's for sure. When Ray was very ill, we watched Jack do The Out-of-Towners, which was one of his great films. And Ray laughed and laughed. And the next day I was in L.A., and I was with my PR person at the time who's helping me with Operation Cork, and I said to Wendy, you know, I wouldn't know Jack Lemmon if he walked by me. And just at that moment, I tell you the truth, he walked by.
That's great.
And I nearly, you know, fainted. So when we were finished with our lunch, I went up to Jack and told him who I was. And I said, I have to tell you how happy you made my husband last night with The Out-of-Towners. And we chatted. And I said, do you like baseball? And he said, I love it. I said, would you come down and throw the first ball out for us? This was March, and we were opening in April. He said, sure. Well, he did. And Felicia came with him, and she was dressed in a Dodger uniform, which was wonderful.
This is his wife?
Yeah. So we made her go into the bathroom and change. You know. Ray didn't want that. And so anyway, Jack threw out the ball, and we chatted that night. I said, what are you up to now? Well, he said, I've just finished Missing, and I've got a great script. I said, what is it? He said, Mass Appeal. I said, nobody wants to touch it. I said, why? Well, there's no sex in it, there's no violence, nobody gets killed. So I said, do you think it's good? He said, I think it's great.
Mass Appeal.
Mass Appeal. So he sent it to me, and I fell in love with it, and had him come down, and we produced it in 6 months, and it's coming out in February.
Produced it, again, a term that not everybody's familiar with. You hear producer. You finance a picture, but you take a personal interest in it. It's having a baby, is it?
If you're involved, if you're going to put up that kind of money, and it wasn't a big film as far as financial, but it was a statement that was important, and it would have been a reflection on me, so I stayed close to it. But with pros like that, you don't have to worry.
Give me a thumbnail of what.
Thumbnail. It's a young priest questioning the older priest, who happens to be Lemon, and his patronizing the parishioners, telling them what they want to hear rather than perhaps what they need to hear. It's a kind of a song and dance theology.
Another thing that keeps you very busy is the Joan B. Kroc Foundation, and the recent headline I read said $1 million to Ethiopian famine relief. I've got the feeling that it's got to move Joan Kroc personally before anything happens.
I think so. I think that we don't ask for people to send grant applications, although they may if it involves family and the betterment of family and society. But I am very interested in children, and I'm not interested particularly in hard scientific research, but I wouldn't rule that out. But I'm very interested in being an action-oriented foundation that can move in and help, hopefully, and inspire others to help.
What you did for the Special Olympic kids in the torch relay.
That was special.
Tell everybody.
Well, these children, many of them had Down syndrome or other impairments, and they were able to be a part of the torch relay. And
now you sponsored.
I sponsored 150,000, $3,000.
So that'd be 50,000 youngsters.
And it really, and Eunice Kennedy, who's been involved in this for a long time, was able, with that first seed grant, to gather together about $3 million, which was helpful. See, so I'm sort of a catalyst, and I love getting into things, and as I said, I won't go from the womb to the tomb with something, because you don't have time then to get involved in other things. But I like to get things started.
You're an outspoken advocate of the anti-nuclear movement. You feel very strongly that that the world is in terrible danger from the nuclear arms buildup.
I think you could call me a peacemonger.
Not a bad thing to be called.
No, not a bad thing to be called. I think that it's up to this country, because we have the freedom here to speak, to save this planet from extinction. And Helen Caldicott's book here, Missile Envy, is super. And I'm going to be sending out, I've ordered 500,000 of those. We're going to have to do some re-editing because I don't want her knocking anyone, including President Reagan, because he didn't start this. He inherited it. And while I'm a little concerned about the race going on right now with Cap Weinberger, you know, Reagan is not to blame for, we've been on a 40-year bender in nuclear arms. See?
This book tells really, it must lay out your philosophy.
It sure does. This is a woman, pediatrician, who taught at Harvard and gave up her profession and her teaching career for preventative medicine, which she calls being aware of nuclear, the problem. What I'm concerned about as much as an all-out war is an accident. We're now relying on computers, and once those computers have a mistake, there's no calling it back. And we've had something like 3,000 computer errors, some 18 to 20 minutes from extinction for us. That's why people need to read this book and realize that we can do something about it.
You're going to be distributing these?
500,000 copies.
How do people avail themselves?
Well, they can write for the book and we'll send it, but I'm mailing it to college professors, congressmen, senators, all over the country.
The people who should read that book.
People like you on shows. And
well, I'm going to read this one.
Sure you will.
Sure. We're going to take a break. There's another facet of Joan B. Kroc, and that is called Operation Cork, and that's been around for a while. And very
almost as long as Joan Kroc.
Not quite. We'll be right back.
Hello? Oh, hi. I was just walking in the door. I spent the afternoon at the Broadway. Buying bras and panties. On sale. Yes, they're pretty. I saved 20 to 30% on all my favorites. Maidenform, Warner's, Olga, Vassarette. I got Lily of France, Ballet, Vanity Fair, Dina. Yes, Subtract, Jockey, my own too. All at 20 to 30% off right now at the Broadway.
A dolphin head, a sea lion's face, a killer whale that jumps with grace, a pirate's world, a hungry shark, a walrus splash, a scenic bark, an otter jumps, a sea lion eats, a team that gears fantastic feats. We move the South Pole here for you, and don't forget your friend Shamu. It's all at SeaWorld, it's all at SeaWorld. There isn't any other place that puts a smile upon your face as much as SeaWorld. It's all at SeaWorld.
When you drive during the holidays, we at Sparklet's Drinking Water would like to remind you of one thing. A car is not a toy.
Used to be able to count our savings plans on one hand. Now I've got at least 10, all with money market rates. Know who it affects most? People like Emily Daniels, who live off what their money earns. When Ted passed away, Emily knew it was all up to her. Must have been in here a dozen times asking about this or that. Probably thinks she's bothering me. It would bother me if she didn't ask.
It's people like Jeff Palmer who make home savings $20 billion strong.
We have been joined by a special friend of Joan Kroc's, and rather than me introduce him, why don't you tell us who he is?
Yeah, I'll introduce him with a funny story. Bob is what one would refer to as a social drinker. For instance, if you were at the bar and said, I think I'll have a drink, he would have said social I. And he said social I so many times that he decided to stop. So Bob is program director at Operation Cork, and he's one special fellow.
Bob, Operation Cork, what does it mean? First of all, the name could not be better. Reversing the letters of Kroc and putting the cork in the bottle. That's the obvious part, but there's more to it.
Well, it's a good name, but I always tell people that it is Kroc spelled backwards. Putting the cork in the bottle has a special significance for people that have to stop drinking. But for people that don't, That isn't our message. Our message is one of where there's alcohol misuse or alcoholism in a family setting, or someone has that problem, then something needs to be done. But for most people, the enjoyment of alcoholic beverages is no problem. So we're interested in helping the problematic behavior, but not saying no to alcohol.
You're not a prohibition movement.
No, not at all.
The word family jumped out at me, and I know that's important to you, because it can tear a family apart.
It does tear families apart. I think 15 years ago that the families have been historically neglected. And what happens is that as the alcoholism progresses with the drinker, the disease aspect of it progresses with the family, because they start acting out in ways exactly as the drinker without drinking, you see. Wouldn't you say that's true, Bob?
It's fascinating. It's just like the other side of the coin.
Yep.
This moment in history, this week between Christmas and New Year's, is especially timely because Operation Cork has been engaged with many other organizations. I said yesterday that I cannot remember a time in our history when there's been this much talk about drinking and driving, and that's a positive sign.
It is, sure.
I mean, the social actions got to start before the legislation catches up, and I hope that that's going to happen eventually. This bumper sticker is one that, first of all, you can pick up, Joan.
7-Eleven or San Diego Trust and Savings Banks, or you can write to us. We send them out by the dozen.
By the hundreds.
We're going to give you a phone number for Operation Cork in a moment or two.
It's good all year long, too, Jerry.
It makes as much sense in July as it does this time of year. Friends, don't let friends drive drunk.
Right.
Another aspect of the work that Operation Cork does deals with the working place. And you don't think of the Padres as a workplace, but it is. I mean, the guys go to work and put on their uniforms and do their thing. And
or get their pen and paper ready for steno. So Bob started an EAP program, first with the players, and now it's gone into the whole organization. Tell us about that, Bob.
Well, that started in 1981, and Joan sponsored a conference with the Commissioner of Baseball, Bowie Kuhn, at that time. After the conference and after he was made aware of what could be done with employee assistance with baseball, he mandated it throughout professional baseball. So we've done a lot of consulting with other teams, and now that today that's a fact. Baseball is approaching this subject, and many teams are dealing with it in a very effective way.
Are the other sports falling in line? You can't pick up the paper, it seems, without reading a headline about it.
It's improving in all the sports.
Well,
what's the reason? Why does an athlete, is he more susceptible? Is it the lifestyle? Is it the fact that he's got the money and people are there? What is it about it?
Well, I think there's a couple things going on. Number one, the work that we're doing now, we're in the 4th year of running that program with the Padres, and I can only speak for that program. I don't know about other organized sports. But I do know that in baseball, the problems are not as great as what the public perceives them to be. We get a lot of headlines when one player, for instance, has a problem, and for instance, for 2 weeks we'll hear about that, then perhaps another player. But overall, the number of players that have problems in baseball are not that great.
The point is, Jerry, it's all over our society.
Right.
It's no more in baseball than it is in this building. 1 out of every 10 drinkers that decide to drink ends up with alcoholism. We know that.
One of the guys I know you're most proud of is Alan Wiggins.
Oh, yeah.
Oh.
Alan is our happiest success story, and I hoped he'd be here today, but we have a tape, I think.
We do. Alan Wiggins, as you probably know, had a cocaine problem, licked it, and has become an outspoken spokesperson for your philosophy. He works with youth groups around the city, works with the police department, talks to high school kids. Here's Alan Wiggins with a message. Watch.
Hi, I'm Alan Wiggins. When I was younger, I thought I was so strong and healthy that nothing could ever hurt me. Well, I was wrong. My experience with drugs caught up with me. All of us have a choice to make in this life, to say no to things that can hurt us. Even though it may seem that everyone is using drugs and alcohol, don't be afraid to say no. Stand on your own. I know it's hard to be different, but it's smart. Think about it. Don't be a dope. Say no.
Alan Wiggins, again, turned his life around, really.
Yeah.
That's really what Operation Cork is about, is it not?
Yeah, well, sure it is. We're available. Bob sets up EAP programs for any corporation in town free of charge.
Employee assistance programs, and that's where management gets directly involved in...
Yeah, by writing a policy statement and having a way to go with employees rather than punishment, but to use the alternate way of treatment for these people, an awful lot of jobs and lives can be saved. And employee assistance is a real soft spot in my heart because in 1971, my superintendent, I was a teacher for about 20 years, called me and he said, Bob, you've been late, your sick leave is used up, and so on and so on. What's going on? And at that time, I didn't know what was going on. And so in 1971, I was fired from a teaching position. I taught for another 5 years before I did finally reach recovery. My problem was alcoholism. But that district did not have a way of identifying that. And today, when we set up an employee assistance program, hopefully, if that scenario could be rerun, in 1971, the employer could say, look, your sick leave is used up, you've been late on the job, your enthusiasm is low, your attitude is poor. We want you to go over and talk to Dr. So-and-so to find out if alcohol couldn't be a problem. I could have been diagnosed at that time of having a disease of alcoholism, which I wasn't aware of, and treated for it and returned to my position. But many cases, companies that do not have programs like this, the employees just kind of fall through the cracks.
There's a whole stack of literature. These are just a few of the items. If you want to find out about some of the booklets, some of the programs, the bumper stickers even, the phone number of Operation Cork is right on your screen, 452-5716. Bob, thank you. It was a happy ending that you got fired because you did some incredibly valuable work, and we'll be back with more about Joan Kroc and the Padres and McDonald's and whatever else. Don't go.
After you shop for everyone else, here's the JCPenney sale with savings for you.
These beautiful fashion robes are being cleared out at terrific prices. Select from an assortment of colors and styles, like full-length trapunto wraps and zip fronts for $19.99, or V-tip satin wraps and pané lattice loungers for $29.99. Available while supplies last at JCPenney.
Big savings everywhere at the JCPenney After Christmas sale, going on right now.
It's big! Yes, Kelly's Furniture has the largest selection of solid oak furniture in San Diego at discount prices. Kelly's $2 million worth of fine furniture is reduced up to 50%. Kelly's is clearing out all 1984 stock. Every item is reduced. At Kelly's during this sale, you pay no sales tax and make no payment until May 1985. It's a big event going on now at Kelly's Furniture. Take Highway 8 to Fletcher Parkway and Jackson Drive, open till 9 p.m. weekdays. It's big!
There was a time when you spent most of your life asleep, as much as 20 hours a day sleeping like a baby. But now you need less sleep, and there may even be nights when you can't get to sleep at all. For those occasional nights, there's Sleep-Ease 3. It's safe, effective, fast-acting to help you feel the way you want to. Drowsy, so you'll fall asleep faster. That way you may do something you don't always do. Sleep like a baby, thanks to Sleep-Ease 3.
It's new, it's local, it's original, and it'll brighten your evenings. It's San Diego at Large, starring Larry Himmel. So pull up a chair, sit back, and get ready for a fast-paced half hour of comedy and entertainment in one of the most unusual television shows you've ever seen. Don't miss the premiere of San Diego at Large, starring Larry Himmel, Monday, January 7th at 7:30 on Channel 8.
She is a very special lady, isn't she? Huh?
Yes.
We're going to meet Joan Kroc again in the second half of the program and hopefully get some questions from our audience for her. I've got a couple of extra things I'd like to ask. This is Thursday, December the 27th. Have you brought everything back to the store yet, folks? Huh? Not yet, huh?
We're waiting.
What are you saving to bring back? Anything special?
I think...
What did you get that didn't fit, maybe?
Almost anything.
Nothing fit. I'm sorry to hear it. Well, I hope it was too big.
No.
No. No, me either. A couple of birthdays on this date. Marlene Dietrich and Louis Pasteur were born on this date in history. And in 1947, my favorite TV show premiered. 1947. Come on, what was it?
Uh-oh. I don't know.
It's Howdy Duty time. It's out. Okay, stop it. It's enough of it. This morning at 10 a.m., I'm going to be out in El Cajon at the East County Performing Arts Center with a very special performance of Bah Humbug, a beautiful production from the San Diego Children's Theater, and it's a great family event. If you've got the kids around the house and say, what can we do today? 10 o'clock, East County Performing Arts Center, beautiful auditorium in El Cajon. It's a musical version of A Christmas Carol. I'll be one of the narrators along with Connie Terwilliger, and we're looking forward to seeing you at 10 a.m. this morning. 692-0220 is the number you can call right now, I guess, for ticket information. And right now we're all going to sit back, relax, and listen to Lorraine Kimmel with our Sun Update. Good morning, Lorraine.
Thanks, Jerry, and good morning. The world's first man-made comet was successfully launched from a German satellite early this morning. The artificial comet consisted of 2 canisters of purple barium dye, exploded to recreate the movements of real comets. The project involved satellites from West Germany, Britain, and the United States. Heavy cloud cover prevented the scientists from observing the comet from most posts on Earth. Pictures taken in space, though, show the comet held its shape for 5 minutes. Then the tail grew to 31,000 miles in length and dissipated. The 4 Polish secret policemen accused of killing pro-Solidarity priest Jerzy Popowuszka went on trial today while Poles visited the popular and outspoken priest's tomb. John Sheehan reports on the significance of this trial.
The trial climaxes one of the most embarrassing episodes in the Polish government's 40 years of communist rule. The murder of Solidarity priest Father Jerzy Popowuszko drove another wedge between the predominantly Catholic public and the state security apparatus and forced the government to admit that at least one death squad was operating within the Interior Ministry. Other supporters of the outlawed Solidarity movement have died under mysterious circumstances, but there is no proof of who killed them. In the Popowuszko case, the 3 accused members of the secret police confessed. Theoretically, they face the death penalty, though it is rarely imposed in Poland. Shockwaves from the murder are still reverberating through the Communist Party leadership. The Prime Minister and party leader, General Wojciech Jaruzelski, described the killing as a provocation intended to undermine him. Some officials now describe Jaruzelski as being locked in a power struggle with hardline communists who have strong Soviet backing. John Sheehan, CBS News, Warsaw.
President Reagan may propose a 1-year freeze on Medicare payment rates to hospitals as well as to doctors. That news comes from today's Washington Post. Earlier this year, the administration had planned on freezing doctors' payments only, with no allowance for inflation. Overall, Medicare cutbacks are expected to be the biggest single cut in any domestic program over the next 3 years. A 14-year-old San Diego girl suffering from Hodgkin's disease has died. Karen Ziegler was the target of a medical controversy between doctors and her parents, who refused conventional cancer treatments for her. Instead, they took her to Tijuana to be treated at a cancer clinic that uses herbal tonics. News 8's Marty Levine has more on this story.
We don't live here. We're just visiting here. Is this what California does to people that just comes through their states and visits their family? They don't like something they see and all of a sudden they want to take your child? I think it's all because of Dr. Schwartz and the past, all the past things that have happened.
Karen Ziegler's parents first ran into conflict with local authorities in February. Their insistence to have the girl's Hodgkin's disease treated by non-conventional means at a Tijuana clinic drew objections from a doctor at Children's Hospital. It was at Children's Hospital where Karen died. A family spokesman interviewed by phone from Reno, Nevada, said that Karen and her family celebrated Christmas Eve with relatives in El Cajon. She was here to continue her Tijuana treatment.
She had a wonderful Christmas Eve, I might add. She spent it with her cousins. She had a good time. She was holding the baby late Christmas Eve.
But then Karen became ill, started hemorrhaging, and was taken to Children's Hospital, but never recovered.
Nothing seemed to take. The blood work didn't seem to take. They, again, tried a transfusion, the electrolytes, any clotting factor, everything, and it seemed that the girl pretty much almost lost her will.
Dr. Karcher said the Zieglers feel the constant legal battle surrounding their daughter's treatment may have contributed to her death.
It's their feeling at this time that she was at least depressed about going back down to San Diego and to Mexico again. And this depression might have easily led to her feeling that way. They were doing everything that they were supposed to do. It caught them off guard entirely, and you almost can't fault the fans for being caught off guard.
Hospital officials don't yet know if Karen died as a result of the treatment she underwent in Tijuana. The San Diego District Attorney's Office has not said whether it will prosecute the Zieglers for their daughter's death. That's a brief look at the day's top stories. Stay tuned for more of Sunup. First, here's today's weather forecast. We'll have rain today, partly cloudy skies tonight, with a 30% chance of showers. Then a little warmer temperatures Friday.
Coming up on Sunup, the best of 84, interviews with Raquel Welch, Tony Curtis, Vicki Principal, and more. Tuesday, no Sunup. Happy New Year. And Wednesday, work out with your partner.
I hit a home run today, but I got all dirty sliding into the base. And Mom says I need a good cleaning. She says detergents and softeners start out cleaning, but they let this icky dirt in the wash water get back on me again. So Mom uses Yes detergent because Yes keeps wash water dirt off me. So I come out real clean, real soft too. But it's no fun staying clean.
Yes keeps wash water dirt off clothes, leaving them clean and soft.
This is some people's idea of how to prepare a seafood dinner. Because while most everyone loves seafood, not everyone knows exactly what to do with it. Well, now there's a better way. Introducing Mrs. Paul's Light Seafood Entrees. 7 tempting seafood entrees that are low in calories and microwavable. New Mrs. Paul's Light Seafood Entrees for people who love seafood but don't love to cook it. Mrs. Paul's, it tastes good because it is good.
I always try to find bargains on the brands my family likes most. And this week, Mervyn's has terrific savings on one of our real favorites. Mervyn's has Levi's cords and Levi's shirts for men on sale at terrific prices. Right now, Levi's boot cords are only $14.99. So are Levi's straight leg cords. And you'll save $5 on good-looking Levi's shirts. I think I'll get there early, so I'll be sure to get everything we need at Mervyn's today.
This is a picture of Chris, a photograph of the 23 pairs of chromosomes in his body. The 21st pair is different. No one really understands why or how, but it means that Chris has Down syndrome. Until we know more, all we can do is help Chris try to live a normal life. The Association for Retarded Citizens, the ARC, does just that. By supporting the ARC, you can help Chris too.
Our special guest all this morning has been and continues to be Joan Kroc, and we are going to take a break from her conversation. In about 5 minutes or so, questions and answers from the audience for Joan Kroc. But first... We've been talking a lot about McDonald's this morning, and appropriately so. Question dealing with some McDonald's history, or trivia, if you will. We all know that Ray Kroc discovered a couple of guys named McDonald's running a restaurant here in California. Said, hey, that's great, and I'm going to open one. Turned out to be 7,000. Where was Ray Kroc's first McDonald's store? Where was it? What city? We will clear the lines and take our first call. 571-1772 is our phone number, but you knew that because you were dialing already. Hi. Where was Ray Kroc's first McDonald's store outside of California? Come on. Milwaukee is close, sort of, but wrong. Sunup game. Chicago is not correct, but it's closer than Milwaukee, okay? Sunup game. Where was Ray Kroc's first McDonald's? Nevada. No, you're moving away from Chicago. Go back to Chicago. Sunup game. Where was his first store? Where? No, San Bernardino was the first McDonald's that was not Ray Kroc's, and he saw these two guys cooking hamburgers and said, I can do that, and opened one somewhere else. Where was the first one, do you know? Gotta move on, sorry. Sunup game, where was it? The man knows. Are you from there? You're from Chicago. Anybody in the audience know? Where? Des Plaines, Illinois, one of the suburbs, a northwest suburb of Chicago. And the man is yelling, I won, I won. What's your name? Frank, guess where you're going? You're going to Ensenada. Weekend for two, you and somebody else, probably not the kid who's screaming. Enjoy a stay at the Ensenada Travelodge Hotel, your best bet for a relaxing vacation, all the comforts and amenities of an American hotel with a tranquil charm of colonial Mexico. Staying at the Travelodge, you'll dine on fabulous cuisine in the beautiful El Rey Sol restaurant, a fabulous weekend provided by the Ensenada Travelodge Hotel. How's that? Okay, now then, I have one more job for you. Pick a number between 1 and 28. We've got something neat for our audience. Okay, hang on, and congratulations to you. Don't go away now. Number 3, who's got it? Oh, it's the lady in the front row. And you said you're from Chicago, too, right? Oh, he's from Chicago. You're from Wisconsin. That's close. Well, the two, are you a husband and wife couple? Well, listen to this. I want a shot of the both of them, please, because these folks have won breakfast in bed for two, provided by RSVP Catering. Relax in the privacy of your own bedroom. A guy will come in, he'll prepare omelets and crepes and champagne and juice and the whole works. RSVP Catering treats you to a gourmet breakfast, including champagne and superb service. A great way to start your day. Congratulations to you. That's super. We will be back. Questions for Joan Kroc right after this on Sunup. Don't go away.
Seems like everyone has a Christmas clearance going on. But when Jimco has a Christmas clearance, that really means something. Oh, there's markdowns everywhere, like up to 50% off coats and sweaters for the whole family. Stylish costume jewelry is now 50% off. TVs, video stuff, and kitchen appliances 10 to 25% off. And all bed sheets are 25% off, too. Oh, there's a whole lot more. But right now, I have to hurry over to Jimco.
Every January at every Halifax store, an event so extraordinary, it's registered. It's Halifax Half the Store at Half Price sale. Half the store is now half price. Everything else up to half off. But you don't have to take our word for it.
The price was by far the lowest of most stores I went to.
It's the sale everyone talks about.
A great variety. I'd say Halifax was half the price.
Builders and decorators, compare your wholesale prices with our sale prices. Halifax, no regrets prices, no regrets guarantee.
The second annual greatest sale we ever had is on right now at Pacific Datsun. I'm Jerry Deneen, and I want to show you what we mean by the greatest sale we ever had. Every new and used vehicle is generously discounted with the prices clearly marked on the windshield. Like this new 85 pickup, $49.99, an 85 King Cab Deluxe for $69.99, an 85 Stanza 4-door, $89.99, or this new 85 King Cab 4x4, $85.99, all at Pacific Datsun.
Don't you have better things to do than wait at home for your government check? Ask for direct deposit. For 20 million people, it's money in the bank.
On the next edition of Our Magazine, First Lady Nancy Reagan examines the role of the schools in a special 5-part series, Our Children and Drugs.
Know what you're doing to yourself.
Plus, Bert Parks advises Gary Collins about the Miss America pageant.
Get out before they get you out.
Bonnie Strauss probes parents of gay children. And an abandoned child becomes a millionaire businesswoman on the next edition of Our Magazine. Watch Our Magazine, Thursday at 3 on Channel 8.
Once again, and for the final few moments of this morning's Sun Up San Diego, let's say hello and re-welcome Joan Kroc, our special guest for this hour. Joan, I found a Padre fan in the audience. It's not tough, but this guy has got a special story. Now, tell me about you and Ballard Smith. And you wrote him a letter?
Yeah, I wrote him a letter earlier in the season about how I never get to see certain games because there's never any tickets, like Dodger games and stuff like that. So I wrote him a letter about that, and he sent me a letter back with 4 tickets to a Dodger game. And so...
That'll come out of Ballard's salary.
Yes, Ballard.
And a few weeks ago in the mail, I received a letter saying that also I had special privileges, like some other people that also got to get tickets. So I sent that in. I'm guaranteed some tickets for opening day.
Well, congrats. What's your name, son?
Eric.
Eric. Well, it's wonderful to have. Who's your friend?
That's Andy.
Hi, Andy.
Couple of real Padre fans. Who's your favorite Padre, Andy?
Steve Garvey and the Goose. Probably Steve Garvey.
He said Garvey and the Goose. And
Garvey and the Goose.
Does that seem to be the way it goes?
You betcha.
Those are the two.
But they're all pretty special, aren't they?
They sure are.
Have you ever heard Eric Shaw play the guitar?
No, I haven't.
He's really good.
We got to get him down here, too.
Yeah, oh, he'd be wonderful.
How about a duet? How about Joan on the piano, Eric on the guitar someday, huh?
Super, I'd be happy to do that.
Let's take some questions. Anything you'd like to ask, Joan?
Well, I know that she's involved with this Operation Cork, backwards, Croc. And I was wondering if there was some reason, some personal reason, maybe a relative, friend, that had her be involved with this.
Yeah, you're interested.
I think that we all get involved in causes for special personal reasons. You'll find that if someone is interested in diabetes, that their child or their mother, their father has it. Certainly it's touched my life. And I think that if we all looked deeply, we'd find that we all know someone who has a problem with alcohol, and then to know how to deal with that. So yes, you're right.
Growing social problem, too, and what scares me is that I see a lot of the kids drinking. At least I don't remember it being that way 25, 30 years ago.
No, it wasn't. It's something that we're really concerned about, and using wonderful male or female, in this case happens to be Alan, as male models, role models, and he's really helping the young people. There's no future in it, Eric, and what's the other guy's name?
What's your name?
Andy.
Andy, how do you feel about it? How do you feel about experimenting with alcohol?
And any of your friends ever drink? Do you know about it?
Not that I know of.
Do you think you could be really tough and say no? It's smart to say no, you know.
Yeah.
Right?
Let me hear you say it.
No.
No.
All right.
Good.
Anybody got a question back here? Huh? How about man down at the end? You had a question, I know.
Well, I wondered, with all your poise and strong interest on many subjects, wondered if you ever thought about going political, running for some office.
No, that would be the last thing, because that would, I speak whenever I speak as a private citizen, and when I get aligned or should get aligned with any political party, then you're already turning off half the world, see? So I'm speaking as Joan Kroc, private citizen, and you can reject it or accept it, see? But you don't have to vote for me ever.
How about being what they call a kingmaker? I mean, you've got that potential to be a party power without being a candidate.
Well, but you see, we all have power, and that's the thing I'm trying to get across. You as an individual have tremendous power, and I'm trying to tell you that. So get aware, particularly on the nuclear issue. Get aware and become aware and involved. And that's very American. Be a peacemonger.
Can't argue with that. Lady who's going to have breakfast in bed very soon has a question.
Yes, I have become a Padre fan over the last year. And I'm really interested in knowing what the pitching strength is going to be for next year. Because the pitchers have come and the pitchers have gone. And could you enumerate,
who's left?
Well, you know what? We have Hoyt now from the White Sox. I think he's going to be super. He doesn't know it yet, but he's going on a diet.
Oh, really?
And then we have Goose, who's wonderful as our relief, and Eric Shaw. And I think our pitching staff, look what we did last year without Whitson. Well, we had Whitson, didn't we?
We had Whitson.
But he wasn't active, was he, with our series?
That's right.
And we did it without Sutcliffe. So we're going to be okay. I don't want you to worry a minute. Just
Is there more
come
to come,
out
though?
and root us on. Pardon?
Is there more to come?
I think Jack's got a few surprises up his sleeve.
And anywhere
Jack
on
McKean.
Fred Lynn of the Angels?
Possibly. I don't know. Jack is wheeling and dealing all the time. By the time we get out of here, you could read something really exciting, you know.
Well,
but don't worry about the pitching. It's going to be okay.
Well, one more question? You had one more, Eric.
I have two questions. One, what happened to Eric Shaw in the World Series?
Honey, if I could answer that, we'd have won the World Series, you know.
Eric's been wondering the same thing.
I can only tell you that we felt so badly for him that my daughter, we were in the hotel room in Detroit, and Linda said, let's call Eric and ask him to come up. And this young man was heartbroken, and we were cheering him up. I don't know what happened, because he got us there. Maybe what happened is that under that kind of thing he froze. I don't know. But I tell you what, he's going to get another chance, and we're going to be behind him all the way.
Okay. Any final question for Joan? Huh? Come on. You had one before. Now you're
I
chickening
just
out.
want to ask you a question. What do you think about it seems to become an imbalance in the league, baseball league, with the haves and the have-nots, the teams that can't really afford to get the big-name players. It seems like a lot of people are losing interest in baseball, and I would like your opinion on that.
I think that the owners, there are 5 teams for sale right now, and I think we're going to have to see a change. And I really want you to feel, as I do, that our new commissioner is going to be tough. You know what he did with the Olympics? He made them winners. And I think he's going to set an example and come down tough on the Steinbrenners, you know. So, yeah, there has to be some changes.
We're going to take a break and come right back with more with Joan Kroc. Don't go away.
Target's White Sale means extra savings on fashions for your home. Here are just a few of the great buys you'll find during Target's Big White Sale. Save on warm flannel sheet sets for those chilly nights ahead. A twin-size set of 1 flat, 1 fitted sheet and pillowcase are sale priced at a low $13.99. And Counterpoint solid color bath towels are Target sale priced at just 2 for $4. Bring home the savings now during the White Sale at Target.
A dolphin head, a sea lion's face, a killer whale that jumps with grace, a pirate's world, a hungry shark, a walrus splash, a scenic park, an otter jumps, a sea lion eats, a team that fears fantastic feats. We move the South Pole here for you, and don't forget your friend Shamu. It's all at SeaWorld, it's all at SeaWorld. There isn't any other place that puts a smile upon your face as much as SeaWorld. It's all at SeaWorld.
You can build your own trick truck at Bob Stahl Chevrolet. Hi, I'm Bob Stahl at the Chevy Capital, and that's a fact. Here's a standard Chevy S10 pickup at our low price of only $5,988. Buy it as you see it here, or we'll help you trick it up like this beauty, with whatever options you want. You can't beat that. The Chevy Capital is San Diego's trick truck capital. Nobody does it better, and that's a fact. We'll see you right here at Bob Stahl Chevrolet.
You're gonna get a good deal.
And a good deal more.
Last year at this time, millions of kids became the proud parents of Cabbage Patch dolls. Thursday on San Diego's PM Magazine, we'll attend the birthday party celebrating their 1-year anniversary.
Then fly with the Coast Guard's International Ice Patrol as they search the Atlantic Ocean for dangerous icebergs.
And take a look at some far-out experimental aircraft when I visit Edwards Air Force Base.
So come join us at SeaWorld. I'm Jeannie Miller.
I'm Terry Wilson, Thursday night at 7 on Channel 8.
Look what we found, Joan.
A piano.
It just happened to be here. While we are talking and getting ready to say goodbye to Joan Kroc, tell them what's going on in the audience, huh?
Is anybody ready to have breakfast?
Huh?
We are having Bob and Nancy Tracy from McDonald's give Egg McMuffins.
Egg McMuffins
to everybody. And OJ orange juice.
That's terrific.
And our 2 young Padre fans will probably want 2. And if there are any left over, you may have them.
All right. I think there'll be a few left over, and our crew is probably going to take care of those.
Good.
Joan, we
good.
wanted to say thank you, but don't go away. I have something pretty to match that dress. Huh?
Oh, bless your soul.
From all of us at Sunup.
Oh, how beautiful. Jerry, thank you.
Thank you. Joan Kroc, everybody.
Thank you.
Please thank her.
Thank you.
I'm going to put these right up here, and as long as you're there, we talked earlier about Joan having played professionally for a long time, was music director of a television station in Minneapolis, in St. Paul, right? Got to differentiate. And she said she's going to play us off today, so goodbye, Joan Kroc, and thank you. Merry Christmas to you again, a little belated, and Happy New Year. And drive safely. Friends don't let friends drive drunk, right?